YouTube. My name is Jacob and this is the Awesomesauce, the only show we do some weird shit when we review games. But we'll get to there. So if you can tell by the title of the video, I'm talking about Resident Evil 7. But, a little twist added to it. It's been a weird idea of mine to do a game review with weird sodas. So today we're going to try the very first episode, see how it works out. So today I have Martian soda. Martian soda. I get these sodas from out of town. I know you can order them online, but I got these when I went to Colorado a while back. And I've been saving them, specifically for this. So we're going to have first drink and then we're going to get started with the video, guys. Oh, zipper's down. Bullshit, man. I don't know. First off, I'm going to revisit everything from my previous Resident Evil video, kind of debunk my theories, and then bring everything up to speed. Then I'm going to give my official review of the game. So in my previous video, I did mention that it looks like they brought the puzzle aspect back to Resident Evil, and they actually did, and it was amazing. One amazing thing was with the reintroduction of the puzzles, they actually brought back an old formula of being under pressure while trying to solve these puzzles. They brought back enemies circling a general area while you're trying to solve puzzles in that area to progress on to the next area. I think that was an amazing feat, so rock on, Capcom. Another thing I said previously in my video was that this seems to relate to the Las Plagas from Resident Evil 4. Now, I'm retracting that. I know, I'm professional, but hey. Now, the reason I retract that theory is because the game itself takes place 16 years, supposedly, after the Resident Evil incident. As you progress through the game, it gives you options to kind of look through documents and get a good backstory on what's going on inside Resident Evil 7 and what led up to the events of Resident Evil 7, or adding story to that. Towards the end of the game, you find documents relating back to the first incident in Raccoon City from Resident Evil 1. The document brings up the Raccoon City incident from 16 years ago. And so between the Raccoon City incident and now, I think if the Las Plagas were a little more involved in this, it would be more of an epidemic and not as quiet and contained as the game allows it to be. It could have been longer than 16 years though. There's a 3-year period where the infection starts at the Baker residence to when you come to the Baker residence. And that document could have been collected at the beginning of the 3 years, it could have been collected anywhere in between. So it could have been longer since the Raccoon City incident, and you just found the document dated 16 years ago. Like I said, I feel like if the Las Plagas were involved in this, it wouldn't be as contained as the video game allows that situation to be contained. So with that being said, I don't think this has any direct relation to Resident Evil 4. Now, there's connection between all the main storyline games, I know, but direct relations between this one and Resident Evil 4 doesn't seem too likely. But then again, there's new content, there's DLC, there's a whole bunch of stuff that will be coming out that might change that. So, as of today, that's all I can say. You ever drink something and you don't know if it's good because you've been drinking it so much, or because it's legitimately good and you just don't know yet? Kind of how I feel. Now I'm going to kind of get into the review, but still kind of touch up on my previous video. I talked about in the previous video how I thought the switch from third person to first person would amp up the horror immensely, and I think it did. As you play along in the game, there's a lot happening that first person just kind of makes it more zony and more scarier. There are certain rooms, certain atmospheres that the first person just kicks up. There's a certain spot in the game where you're looking for a cure. When you find the first part of the cure that you need, this is where I think the first person really made it a genuine horror experience. The fact that you're already walking in a super dark room with a dim lit light, that already amps it up enough. But having it in first person, seeing everything firsthand, I think that's what made that truly amazing. And anytime a jump scare would happen, I think seeing it in third person kind of ruins it a little bit. But in first person, where it's right in your face, even if you're not doing the VR, I think that just made the horror come back even more. And also in previous Resident Evil games, having it in third person, if you're searching around for stuff, you can focus on the entire area around you, which still makes it scary. But in first person, when you're trying to solve some of these puzzles and you have to look, you can only rely off sound, and sometimes if you're focused on what you're doing, you ignore sound. So you could be looking around for a certain key or a specific set of keys to unlock a door, you're ignoring sound, and boom, there's a jump scare behind you, or there's an enemy behind you that you didn't see because you're too focused. And I think that's what made the horror more better. That's why the switch to first person was probably a plus and not a minus. I also talk about the main character in the game, Ethan Winters. I theorize that he's just a random guy in a bad situation looking for his wife. I don't think that's the case, but this one is just all theory still. Now he is on a journey searching for his wife, but his actions throughout the game kind of seem a little too relaxed for him to just be a random nobody guy. Throughout the game, Ethan keeps getting enemy after enemy after enemy tossed at him, and he doesn't seem to have a normal person reaction. And what I mean by normal person reaction is that if I had seen anything like he saw in the game, I wouldn't know what I would do. I wouldn't be as calm. I'm pretty sure most people wouldn't be as calm in that type of situation. Now, of course, I'm not saying he's a super badass soldier either, but it just doesn't seem that that's what a normal person would react to. I mean, the dude got his hand cut off and he still managed to be like, okay, let's keep going. And throughout the game, even doing certain reveals of bosses, he has witty banter, witty comeback. If I saw a giant spider lady, like crawling, I wouldn't have a smart ass comment. I would be like, oh, fuck. Not trying to be funny or sarcastic. Even at the end of the game, after you beat the final boss, Umbrella comes, they come to rescue you, depending on what ending you get, it's happy ending or sad ending. The way he communicates with the Umbrella officers is almost like he was expecting them to come, or he was part of Umbrella in some way. Once again, I'm not saying he's a trained soldier or anything like that, but it just seems there's more to him that we don't really know. So the enemies in the game have been confirmed to be called the Molded. They're not a typical zombie like you would expect in Resident Evil, and they're a little more than a biological infection like in Resident Evil 4 and 5. The Molded seem to have some giant biological connection, one to Evelyn, but two to everything else. They can bond with the walls and generally jump out of the walls when they're trying to attack you. There's even documents that say that all the infected have some type of biological connection with each other. I think this was a good change of pace for Resident Evil because I don't think zombies do it anymore. That's why a lot of zombies in games and all sorts of media are like super infected, or they're different types of zombies. Especially having an enemy you don't really understand or know what it is. Even after beating the game, collecting all the documents, you still don't really know what the mold is. I think that's the thing. The mystery behind it is what also makes the enemies scarier. It's also what makes the enemies more terrifying. I mean, I think we're to the point where if we see a zombie, it's like, oh, whatever. But if you see a giant, black, funky looking creature coming at you, it's, oh my god. And once again, I think that added to the horror of Resident Evil 7. One of the amazing things about this game is they were not afraid to take it as far as they could with the gore, the shock horror, and they still kept it within reasonable taste too. And what I mean by keeping it in reasonable taste is they didn't go all out like these B movies do with just non-stop disgustingness. You know what I mean? There was some class to it that made it really stand out. And one of the boss battles, Marguerite Baker, she actually grows some type of weird hive in that area. Don't want to be inappropriate. Okay. I think what makes that a little more disgusting is the fact that everything revolving around her is bugs. She has bugs, she controls bugs, she gives birth to bugs to attack you, to protect things, you know, such and such. And with, you know, her hive, her weak spot being right there, kind of gross. They really pushed it, you know what I mean, but without being distasteful. They kept it classy, don't get me wrong, they kept it really good, but it was still, there were some parts where you're just like, ugh, like, did that really just happen? You know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of clean yourself. Maybe that was just me. I don't know. Like, there's this one part where you're searching for a specific key to get to the next area, and you have to stick your hand down a dead body's throat. And just not on top of like the actual action of it, the sounds, the look, how it looked, how it sounded, everything it sounded, you're just like, ugh. Like, you know what I mean? It was just really rough. But I think the game brought survival horror back to the Resident Evil series, to the Resident Evil franchise. Now, of course, excluding the final boss battle, ammo was scarce in some places, health was scarce in some places. I think what makes a survival horror game really good is when you have to choose between making ammo or making health. That has to be like the worst decision, because especially if your health's already low. And that's the thing too, is you have a fight or flight option. Now, of course, you know, Outlast has done fight or flight, but it's become repetitive and tedious to the point where it's not even scary anymore. You're just getting sick of it. And they don't throw ammo at you like previous Resident Evil games to where it's just nothing but shooting. There's no real suspense and horror to it. This game took both aspects of survival horror from action and then the suspense, and then just perfect balance. I think taking away a currency system to get whole new guns, whole new ammo, all that stuff, I think that was a major plus too. In the game you can only craft handgun bullets, so if you're out of everything, all you have is a pistol. And even then, that goes back to the whole, do I need ammo or health? Like, which one's more important? I think giving you the ability to pay some type of currency to upgrade a gun, buy ammo or such and such, I think that really takes away from the thrill of suspense and the thrill of horror. Because all you have to do is find whatever's selling it, and then the whole entire game itself with the atmosphere of the game, with certain parts, there's a part to freak anybody out anywhere. If you have a fear of being overpowered and outstrengthed and outmatched, if you have a fear of bugs, spiders, anything like that, if you have a fear of like the grossness that comes with that, if you have a fear of the dark, if you have a fear of being outsmarted, this game kind of tackles a little bit of every fear at once. And they managed to do it without hordes and hordes of enemies, to where it's just like, oh fuck. It's actually like an oh my god, like your heart starts pumping faster, you start having that little mild panic attack. The game has brought back so much of classic horror, and they did it right. There's not too much of this, not too much of that. There's not too much shooting, there's not too much run and hide. And I think that's amazing. I think that's what this franchise needed to bounce back from the funk that it kind of put itself in. Like I said before, I like all Resident Evil games in their respective right, but it was just amazing to have a genuine horror experience and truly feel the panic of horror again, and not just a jump scare. Not just jump scaring your gun, you know what I mean? Or jump scare and it's action time. To truly feel that suspense off of a major title, like a major title console release, perfect. Perfect. So overall, the game was absolutely phenomenal. I personally think one of the best releases of 2017 so far. Now, of course, it's only February, so we have the rest of the year, but I truly think Resident Evil is either #1 or it's close to #1. But we'll see. Of course, there's always something that we think that the game developers could have done better in our personal way, in our personal opinion, but as a whole, I think the game was just phenomenal. It did exactly what it needed to do. It brought back survival horror into AAA titles like this, and it's also a good example of how horror should be in horror games for AAA titles. So I give the game a solid 8 out of 10. The reason it's 8 and not a full 10 is because games have a tendency just to load ammo at you towards the end of the game. And maybe it was just me running instead of fighting a lot of the last 30 minutes of the game, but I had a lot of ammo to take on the final boss, and I think that kind of takes away from a final boss battle. But then again, they don't want you to be in a situation where you're going to lose. So, just because I'm picky, 8 out of 10. So with that being said, everybody, that is my official review of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I also gave it an 8 instead of a 10 because this game itself has left more questions than answers. We know Umbrella is tied to this somehow. We don't know if Umbrella is directly tied to EV or if they're a competitor company trying to get a hold of the biological weapon EV. And there's just a whole lot of mystery that hasn't been answered yet. And that's why, that's what makes the game amazing, but that's also why I give it an 8. Because I want to know what the hell's going on and how this ties into all the Resident Evil games. Ooh, look at that, I finished my soda. So ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is my official review of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Let me know if you agree, let me know if you disagree, let me know what your guys' opinion is on the game. Let me know if you guys thought it was good, if I deserved a better rating than I gave it, if it deserved a less rating than I gave it. Let me know. I love Resident Evil. I'm so happy that the game came back. I'm happy it's coming back the way it's coming back. And I'm super excited to see what Capcom puts out next. And hopefully they can keep the smoke train going, because this is too good. I hope it doesn't end. So everybody, before we go, I do want to announce I am trying to start a new series on this channel. It's called Toy Time. I already have an episode out. If you haven't checked it out, I'll leave a card at the end of the video. Click on it, check it out. Tell me what you guys think. I really want this series to take off, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you have any ideas, if I should do it differently. Talk to me, people. Let me know. Let me know. Once again, guys, thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you for clicking on my video. I know everyone's talking about Resident Evil, so thank you for taking the time to watch my video. It really means a lot to me. As always, guys, don't forget to hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everything's in the link in the description below. Come say what's up, talk to me, give me some ideas for the next video. Thank you everybody for being with me today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, let them know the Awesomesauce is here to party. And as always, YouTube, here's a crisp one.